All right, classes, welcome back to English 1301. My name, of course, is Lawrence Welsh. It's good to be back with you. Class, there's several things I want to talk about. We're going to lecture here about the profile essay. We're going to talk a little bit about the profile, which you turned in, but we're going to move on now, class, to the review essay and talk about that and talk about upcoming deadlines as we move towards that final push of the semester. Okay, that final push of the semester. Let me do a recap right quick before we move forward, class. Excuse me, during spring break, all during spring break and after spring break, the first week after spring break, every day I've been grading essays and portfolios to give you my full attention and give careful care and consideration to your work for those profile portfolios. I read some good ones, class, and a combination of grades from A minus to F. You know what your grades are. If you didn't get a grade for your memoir, that means it's a 0. If you didn't get a grade for your profile, it's a 0. Okay? Because each student I'm in correspondence with one-on-one. And I've given your grades back after I have annotated and evaluated your essays. So you know what your grades are, okay? There are some people who are making some adjustments for me, and I've been in contact with those folks, and they're making the adjustments that they need to do on their portfolios, and I'm helping them with that. Now, you'll only know that is if I've been in contact with you through Blackboard messages, okay? Very good. So I've read some really good profiles. Class, if you didn't turn in a profile or a memoir, my suggestion would be drop the class. Okay? Drop the class because it'd be extremely hard to pass it, pretty much impossible. We're going to end up having 4 major grades this semester, and if you don't do a major project for whatever reason, drop the class, get out of the class, take a W so it won't affect your GPA. And I'm only saying that once again to help you, all right? To help you, class. I like to set my students up always for success at the college level. If you don't do your work or get it in, don't beat yourself up. Don't come down on yourself because there's always next semester, okay? And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Each semester is a time to start over because I've had this over the years. I've had students who, their head isn't right or they're having difficulties or challenges. I know it's a challenging time during the pandemic, etc. I've seen them. Mr. Welsh, my head wasn't in it. I didn't do the work I should have done. I didn't do the quality of work I should have done. I'm going to drop your class. That's okay. Okay? Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. When you take the class again, you'll know what to do differently. Class, if you want to. Okay? If you want to. That's the thing about college is you have to want it. You have to go for it. You have to have the fire. And I'm certainly, as a professor, here to help you. So with that said, class, and I'll be sending out a memo on this, our drop date is April 14th. After the 14th, if you're still in the class, you will be getting a grade in that class, in my class. So excuse me, and I'm here to help. But say, for example, you're failing the class and have a couple of Fs or you didn't do a major assignment. Once again, that isn't setting yourself up for success, so be thinking about that. After April 14th, I'm going to have to give you a grade in the class. Before April 14th, if you take a drop, you could take a W. all right, a W, and that means it doesn't affect your GPA. And I think I've shared this before, class. I had to take W's in college. Not a lot of them, but between the community college I went to, between my undergraduate days at California State University at Long Beach, during graduate school, occasionally I had to take some W's. Don't beat yourself up, okay? That means, once again, you're just going to have a new chance next semester. After the 14th, I have to give you a grade. Before the 14th, you could take a W and get out of the class without getting a grade. So be aware of that deadline coming up. I'll send you a memo that talks more about that. Now, the due date for our upcoming review essays are going to be this, okay? I'm teaching one online class this semester. The section is 20755. One online class, 20755. Your date for the online class will be the 14th. What are you going to turn on the 14th? It's going to be exactly like every other essay. 700 to 1,000 words for the review. You'll turn in a first draft, a final draft, a writing center verification. Just send them through Blackboard messages and name them first draft, final draft, writing center verification. And I'll hunt and I'll get it and I'll give your work my 100% attention. Okay? Remember, class, go back and look at proper essay formatting handout that I gave you. You want to look exactly like that. That's MLA style. Okay, a lot of you. So everything's going to be the same. Same format, same style. Once again, first draft, final draft, writing center verification. That's going to be on the 14th that you're going to turn that in. Once again, for section 20755. Now in my hybrid classes where we've been meeting in class and we've been meeting, you've been watching my lectures, section 21416, class section 21419 and 21437. That packet is going to be due on, once again, the 18th of April. Everything is once again here on the course policies and calendars class, the 18th of April. First draft, final draft, writing center verification. And then when you turn those in, I'll move back into that mode again that I go into of grading portfolios 7 days a week. Okay, 7 days a week. And then working with students one-on-one, which I have continuously this semester. So class, that's where we are, okay? We talked about the drop date, April 14th. We talked about the due dates, April 18th, April 14th. Once again, April 14th for that one class, April 18th for my other classes. Check the deadlines. Once again, it says right here on your course policies and calendar classes. Very good. Now, what I'd like to do today is you've received some handouts and you've done reading in your text in regards to the review essay. Okay, so I want to lecture to that today. I want to lecture and illuminate already what you have read about. And I want you to be thinking about what you could do for your review essay. We're going to finish this lecture today with this handout that the online classes received and my hybrid classes will receive in a few days. And that is, once again, that handout starting with writing assignment, writing a review on page 408 of this handout. And I'm going to lecture on that and illuminate, because that'll give you a lot of possibilities to think about. Okay, so let's get into this, class. When was the last time you evaluated something? I want you to think about that, class. When did you evaluate something last? Now, if we were in class and the lecture, students would raise their hands and we'd talk about this. We'll talk about it right now in this virtual lecture. Okay. So one of the things is um, you're in a period of evaluation when you look at your own essay. Okay. You're in a period of evaluation when you get that draft back from the writing center. When you write an essay, sometimes students tell me, oh, Mr. Welsh, I know I didn't do very good. That's all right. I'm telling a student, okay, so what are you going to do different next time? Or don't beat yourself up. We learn from these things. Okay. But you may evaluate your essay and say, wow, you know what? This is a great essay. But then I have to grade it, right? And one of the things that students say I'm so helpful with is when I take the time and I mark, once again, the errors on the essay. I had a student I met the other day in class who his first memoir was like a C minus. Oh man, and his next profile was an A minus. And we were in class, we were talking about it. And he said, you know what, Mr. Wells, I made a lot of stupid mistakes on my memoir, but I knew he could write and I knew he had skills, and I told him about this. And we were in class it was Monday, and we were talking. I said, wow, that profile was outstanding. He said, I took every comment that you put on my paper, Mr. Welsh, and I realized that I wasn't going to do that again. I said, wow, that's amazing. I said, you have some good skills. And I said, my job as a professor is to help you, once again, to point out those errors, to scrub you up a little bit. So when you leave me, and when he goes on to wherever he's going to go on, Texas Tech or Texas and Austin or NMSU or UTEP or Harvard or Yale or Berkeley or UCLA class or maybe Loyola in LA. Hey, you may one day end up at graduate school at my alma mater, Cal State Long Beach in Long Beach, California. I don't know. But I already tell them, you're showing me you have the skills. Okay? Okay. So once again, class, evaluation. What does it mean to evaluate? So you evaluate your own work. The Writing Center evaluates your work. I evaluate your work. Okay. So one of the things we're doing today is class, and once again, when we're dealing with things that are called criteria. Criteria when you evaluate some standards by which something can be evaluated. Criteria. Standards by which something can be evaluated. So, when I go to look at your essays, because I'm an English professor, what do I judge it on? I'll look at like clarity, formatting, spacing, paragraphing, and if all that's good, then I'll start reading it. Once again, I'll look for dialogue, clarity, flow, structure, organization, grammar, punctuation, right? All these things that I get paid for to help you with, once again, as a professor. And then through that, I'll make an evaluation, let you know the evaluation of what grade you received. A couple days ago, I was grading a student's profile. And it's like, I'm here to help, but it was like, going along, error, grammar, punctuation, syntax, run-on sentence, incomplete sentence, tense switches, grammar, punctuation, syntax, once again. And I'll mark those until I've marked 30 of them, and then boom, F. And then let the student know, that this essay is full of basic grammar and sentence structure errors. And then once again, it's going to be the student's job to clean that up. Just like my professors in college would mark my essays and let me know what my deficiencies were. And then, what the student's going to do, I don't know. My hope is that, they'll work their tails off to clean it up. And some will have to step back and maybe take a refresher English class. But class, that's not for everyone. I've read a lot of good work this semester, and a student like that, they are where they are. I'm here to help everyone. Once again, we're all where we are. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to take off from here? Right? How are we going to take off from? What are we going to do now that we see that we have these deficiencies? I have them too in life in different areas. As a writer, as a man, as a professor, as a husband, as a father, as a poet, as a, walking that road. Where are we going to go from here? How are we going to continue the journey? How are we going to improve? It's up to you, just like it's up to me. Class. So, evaluation. Criteria, from the Greek word criteriae, a standard or rule by which something can be judged. Now, that's what we're going to be dealing with here in this evaluative essay. Okay. So, at sometimes class, I'll ask students in class, I'll say, if you had to make an evaluation of a job, tell me where you've worked before. And we're in class and students will raise their hand. They'll say, Mr. Wells, I have a job at Whataburger, or I'm working at Chili's, or I'm at Albertsons, or I'm at a call center in town, or I'm washing cars, or I'm working part-time as a mechanic. I think all jobs, class, are good. I've done a lot of them as a young man, Telephone salesman, dishwasher. Hell, I spent 10 years at Safeway. Now Albertsons owns Safeway. I spent 10 years there working on a graveyard stock crew. And then working as a checking out groceries. That's how I put myself through college, So work is, I believe, work is good. I've been a waiter twice in my life. Been a long time, but I was a waiter in Houston and Los Angeles, bringing people their food, getting tips, hustling, trying to make it in the world, just like I know my students are trying to make it, right? So if you had to judge a job, what could you judge it on, class? This will help you in your essay. You want to come up with like 4 standards, by which to judge that job. Okay. So any job could be judged on, first of all, the number one thing, pay. So say you want to write a review to let me know, or review if working at Chili's is good, and you're a waiter there. So first thing would be pay. How much are you making for what you have to do as a student? Details, let us know. Let us know once again. Job like at Chili's, it'd be, where you're going to make your main money as a waiter there is through tips. How much are you making through tips? How much can you walk with at the end of the week? For working, class, 20 hours, 30 hours, whatever, you give us the specific details. Is this a good job? Okay. You come out in the intro, let us a little background. Then in there you'd have your thesis statement, letting us know whether it's a good or bad job, and then into the specifics. If you're going to tell me it's a good job, I would want to know about how can we judge that job? Pay. How much money do you make for what you're doing? Okay. Number 2, details. Number 2, you would do a transition and go into something like, with evaluating a job, benefits. Benefits. Okay. Are there benefits? Health benefits, retirement plan. What sort of benefits are offered for where you are? Let us know. Number 3, working conditions. What are the working conditions like? Okay, let us know. And then finally, working conditions, environment. You could talk about possibly in the end, like management or your boss, how that is. Here's your essay. Then a conclusion, letting us know. I don't care if something's good or bad. I just want you to prove it in a review class. All right? Excuse me. So, review. Come out. Give us a little background about Chili's. These are how reviews are written a simple way. Give us a little background about Chili's. The end of that opening paragraph, give us your thesis statement. Thesis statement. Letting us know if it's a good or bad job or a combination of both, and then prove it. One paragraph or two on pay. One next paragraph or so on benefits. Next paragraph on things like working conditions. When I'm talking about working conditions, how is it? You know, if you're making some pretty good money as a roofer, working conditions can be a bit rough for roofing. A roofer, especially in El Paso, we need roofers, but you're on the roof, it gets to 115 degrees, and you got a tar machine going. Kind of rough working conditions, right? Being in an air-conditioned room like I'm in today or when I'm at the college, not a bad environment. Management at the end. Conclusion. Okay? There's your essay. 700 to 1,000 words. So you want to think about having 4 standards by which to judge what you're going to judge. And I'm going to give you a bunch of things here of what you can review. And I want you to start thinking right now about what can I write my review of. But you could review a job. Keep it simple, class. Don't make these complicated. Okay? What we're trying to do is get through English 1301. All right? You can have one major. It's going to come down like this, and I'll report on this. One major new essay, the review final exam, I'm pretty sure that's going to be it. You know, 4 major grades this semester. And then English 1301 will be over and you'll start your summer vacation. All right? You'll start your summer vacation. Review. Let's go over it again. Introduction, paragraph. Thesis statement at the end of the introductory paragraph. Transition. First point, criteria, standard by which to judge something. Pay, specific, tell us what you're doing. Benefits, working conditions, management, conclusion. It's a foolproof way to write a review, 700 to 1,000 words, all right? 700 to 1,000 words. So, whatever you're going to review, think about the standards by which that you are going to review it, all right? Whatever you're going to review it. So in class, I would do something like giving group work to students for a couple things like this. Say, for example, you wanted to review a restaurant, and you could. If you're going to do a restaurant review class, I'd like it to be not a buffet, but a sit-down restaurant. And you could go into that restaurant class, you know, quietly when you go in and take in, you know, a pen and even a piece of folded up paper in your pocket, and then, or a notebook. I'm looking for my notebook here, class. And then what you could do, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Sometimes I just fold up sheets of paper and put it in the pocket, and you got your notebook if you have it. Then start once again hitting it. Once again, getting down the details, class. Getting down those details about what's happening. Once again, and you'll write down while you're in there, class. You want to hit the details while they're fresh about what's going on in the restaurant, about the food. Once again, standard or criteria, the service standard or criteria. Once again, the environment. Once again, the cost. Once again, maybe even you could talk about the cleanliness. You want to always hit it with notes, class. Always hit it with notes, because in everything we've done this semester to help you through the notes, you get, once again, your essay. You get that raw material, right? You get that raw material that will be the basis for your essay. And once again, it doesn't have to be fancy colored ink. It doesn't have to be like this. This now, I've moved into this Japanese, what's called Tomei paper, high-end paper that's pretty thick. I like it's. I'm always like, this is new. People talk about Tomei paper in journals, and this has a nice. It soaks the ink nicely, class. So I'm moving on this once again, right from Japan. This paper, and then once again, a Levenger out of Chicago, a pen with a German nib on it, class. A Levenger True Rider pen with some Monteverde coral ink in it, class. You don't have to do that. You don't, but you might like it. You might get into pens. You might get into your tools. It's good if you do, class. And then once again, get those details while you're in the restaurant, class. While you're in that restaurant, get those details. Once again, how is the environment of the restaurant? One standard by which you could judge it. Overall, in a restaurant review, class, number one, food. Food. Tell us about what food you got. I want to taste it. How good is it, class? That food. Once again, give us details. Say you went to a Mexican restaurant, class. Say you went to a Mexican restaurant. Say you went to somewhere like Avila's, maybe over on Mesa. I like Avila's. I've eaten there a lot. I've eaten a lot of Mexican restaurants in my 27 years in El Paso. But I also ate a Mexican. I worked in a Mexican restaurant in Houston at the On the Border Cafe when I was 30 years old. That was Tex-Mex. Okay? 27 years in El Paso. I've eaten some good Mexican food and some not so good, but a lot of good. And then I worked at the On the Border Cafe in Houston when I was 30, just for a short period of time, but that was Tex-Mex. And then I'm from LA, so I'm a native Angeleno. And, I grew up eating Mexican food in LA too, a different type, at different places. Different places. Like El Coyote, up near Hollywood, place where we used to hang. Well, a bunch of others could come to my mind. The Spanish Cafe, all sorts of places. But we're in El Paso, or some of the people aren't in my online class. It doesn't have to be a Mexican restaurant, but I only bring that up is because some of my students will know about Mexican food, and bring a different set of skills possibly to the table with Mexican food than I have, because I'm not a Mexican or a Chicano, but that world has always influenced me from the time I was a kid. So you could write about that, class. If you know about enchiladas and you get an enchilada plate, I want you to tell me about, once again, the texture and the taste and how good it is or isn't, And if there's some refritos on that plate, I want to know, you tell me, you make the call. Are they tasty? Are they good, class? What's the spices like? Now, if there's some papas or some chips and salsa, all these things can be taken apart, some rice. You let us know, you would want to know, class. Once again, one of the things from a lot of restaurants, sometimes I'll go in and I'll get some chips and salsa, and I'm like, these chips are kind of stale. The salsa's kind of watery. Or the pico de gallo. You let me know. And then sometimes it's like, this is excelente in Espanol. This is excelente. Muy bueno. Very good, very good, very good. But if you're going to tell me something's very good, I want the details. Mexican restaurant review, Come out, let us know about the restaurant, thesis statement, 4 standards by which to judge it. Food, service, environment, cleanliness. Boom, done. Each paragraph, 700,000 words. I want to be inside that restaurant. You let me know. Because basically in a restaurant review, what we want to know is when a reader reads a restaurant review is, should they go there? Should they go there? Okay. I've read some good restaurant reviews over the years. So in class I'd ask students to come up with, or a movie. You know, what 4 things could you evaluate a movie on? I don't want to read a plagiarized movie review. Class, I don't want to do that. You know, I've already had a student I had to bust down this semester who plagiarized. I don't want to say I busted him down, but I think it was a plagiarized profile. I'm like, I don't know. But then I talked to him. I'm not here to hurt anyone. You do your own work. I don't want to read a restaurant review out of the El Paso Times. I want to hear from you. You go there. You take the notes. Once again, you've got time. Get the details. Get it hot. Once again, get it down in your notes, class. I don't want to read a movie review from Vanity Fair or the New Yorker or the Dallas Morning News, or the Los Angeles Times or Variety. I want to read it from you. Okay? You could do, once again, so the same thing, a book review. Class, sometimes when I've done this thing in the fall, I've had students go to Halloween parties and write a review of the Halloween party. One of my favorite reviews ever was with a student, a young woman said, Mr. Welsh, she came up to me, this is before the pandemic, and she said, Mr. Welsh, you know, I got a blind date Friday night. Could I review my blind date? Somebody set me up, one of my girlfriends, with a blind date. I said, yeah. I mean, I looked at her memoir grade. It was a good memoir. Looked at her profile grade. Good profile. Young woman could write, you know. She had some skills. We all have skills. Hers were on a high level. I think, where the hell had she gone to school? I think she'd gone to Hanks. The Pride of the East Side, class. The Pride of the East Side. I think it's the Pride of the East Side. She went to Hanks and she wrote one of the funniest, wonderful reviews of a blind date. I still remember it. You know, she reviewed that and what happened in the date. And in the end, it wasn't that good of a date, but it was funny, you know. She had a guy that took her out that was obsessed with himself all night long. This is a heads up for the young men out there, or for a young woman. On the date, the guy was just obsessed with himself, talking about how great his car was, and how much he worked out, and how much he loved himself. All he did all night long was talk about himself. And yet my student's there on a blind date and he's paying her no attention. Class, we need to pay attention to people. Especially if someone would think we like or, you know, are interested in. I try and give people all my attention, right? Whew. Heavy, funny. Is it good? So you could do something like that. Criteria. What are you going to judge that date on, class? She wrote a nice piece, man. All right. So, whatever it is, I think that helps, you know. These are all things that you could do for me. So, you know, you want to get on it right away and start thinking about what you could review. I'm going to talk about some of these things right now. And you can do this for me, okay? For this assignment, and this is from this handout that what I'm lecturing on illuminates the readings I've given you and will give you, and illuminates the reading you've done in your textbook, the Norton Field Guide to Writing. For this assignment, write a review. So you can pick something that you know well, or that you just find interesting and would like to know more about. Okay? And so you want to write this review as if you're writing it for me, but almost like to say you were going to write it for the school paper. Same sort of thing like the Tejano Tribune or a local publication. Now, what are some of the things you can review, class? Live performances. Can you go to a musical concert for me? Yes. And write a review of it? Yes. I don't care who it is. Class, I know since we're in a pandemic, you could even stream a live concert like on your laptop or on your TV. But you want to watch it, okay? And while you're watching it, whoever it is, class, you got to have this with you. You got to have this. You're going to hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it with notes so you can get those details, class. You can get those details of what's going on, those details of what's going on, right? You're going to get it down. You're going to get it down, those details. Live performance, concert. Think about what are the 4 things that a concert could be reviewed on, musicianship, performance, song list, all these things. It would depend on which concert, but you could do a live performance. So you could see something like the next few days live, go, paper and pen, so you can take notes while you're watching it. And you have to do something specifically for this class. You can't. I had a student last semester say, you know what, I want to write a review, Mr. Welsh, of Los Tigres del Norte, who I saw 2 years ago. I said, you don't remember that? You don't have it fresh? I'm glad you went and saw them. Trying to figure out if I've ever seen them. I haven't, but I'd like to. The Tigers of the North, class. They do their thing. That's a heavy group, right? Los Tigres del Norte, the Tigers of the North, right? Here they come. You want to do something fresh for this essay. So, now, that person can go back and watch a concert of them, stream it through YouTube or whatever, and sit down and take notes of something recent. Write me a review of that. Okay? You could go to a play, write a review of it. A nightclub, if you're going to go to one, with live music, and write a review of the performance. Stream it, and then you review it. Let me know what's good or what's bad about it. Class, could you do a television program? Yes. Yes. Anything that's on TV, write a review. Write a review. Could be, sit down and watch a couple episodes. Let me know if it's fresh or if it's stale. Could you do a movie? Yes. Movie. What would you judge it on? Story. Originality of story. Acting. Costuming. Set design. Soundtrack. 702,000 words. Let us know. Class, you could do a movie review, TV, you could do a radio show review. Class, sit down. I love radio reviews. I don't care if it's AM, FM, satellite radio. Sit down with the radio, turn it on for a couple hours, listen to a radio station or a particular maybe morning road show of that radio. Write me a review of it, of a particular slot, of when that radio host personality is on. Let me know. Like for years, people have, in the old days, used to listen to 95.5 on the rock station, whatever the hell the call letters is on that. And they had that morning show. It's supposed to be funny. You tell me whether you think it's funny. All right? Any of the morning shows. Maybe a satellite radio, if you got satellite radio, right? I got it in the new car. Never had it before, but finally at my age, got a decent car. We got some satellite radio. There's some stations on there I'm obsessed with. Little Steven's Underground Garage. I dig it. Outlaw Country Station. Dig it. Willie's Roadhouse. Dig it. There's some psychedelic, some jam stations on there. There's a pretty good salsa station. That also does some merengue and cumbias and things like that. But any station, sit down, write me a radio review. I'd love it. Musical recordings. You could do an album. What they used to call an album, I think they still do. People are buying vinyl again. Someone drops a whole new CD or album or whatever it is, review it. Give me someone new that I don't know of. A lot of people I don't know of. Maybe some new rapper you like. Maybe someone you don't like so much but want to dig into. I'll give you an example. I had a student a few years ago said, Mr. Welsh, I'm kind of into the Doors. Can I review Morrison Hotel, one of the Doors albums? I said, that's from a long time ago, but I'll let you review it. Don't plagiarize it. If you dig the Doors, write me a review of the record. I'll read it. It was good, class. Or maybe some throwback rap or something, you know. I had a student, God, this is quite a few years ago, obsessed with Eazy-E. Said he wanted to review Eazy-E's final album. I said, review it. I'll read it. Once again, or you know, some other, I don't care who it is, you know. It's your world. I'm just living in it, class. Some musical recording, you know. But don't have it as a love fest to the musical artist. You know, get in there and be critical. What works, what doesn't work. You know, if it's a singer-songwriter, tell me if the songs are effective, the singing's effective. Once again, you know. You let me know. Class, could you do a review of the internet? Yeah. Like a particular website. Yeah, get in there and review a website. Let me know if it's good or bad. You could even review like the EPCC website. What do you think? You would review it on what? Graphics, content, availability, things like that. Let us know about a website. Is it good? Is it bad? What makes it good? What makes it bad? Class, I have to throw this out there because sometimes I forget it and my students ask me, sometimes male students, Mr. Welsh, I've had female students do, can I do a video game? Something over Xbox or a new game is out. I said, yeah. What are you going to judge it on? Graphics, playability, content, uniqueness, 700 to 1,000 words. I'll read a review. My son just recently got a new thing on, what the hell is he on? Xbox, where he plays with some of his high school buddies. Let me know. He knows a lot about that world. Spends some time in it, maybe too much. I'm not going to judge him. Senior year in high school he is, you know. We're trying to get him through it. God love him, you know. He could write a review. You could write a review. Class. Exhibition, local museum, yes. Art exhibition, yes. Historical museum, yes. You could write a review for me. Go there, hang out, write a review. Books, you could review a bestseller, yes. You could do an older book, yes. You could do a novel from way back. Class, you let me know. You read it, you let me know. You can write a review. Write a book review. Let me know what's good, what's bad. Could be something new, could be something old. When I was in college, one of the things that everybody said that a lot of college students were reading outside of classes was The Stranger by Camus, the book of French existentialism. It's only 100 pages long. I read the English translation, you know. It's good. I read it when I was 23 years old. The Stranger, you know. There's something else that people are reading that you want to read. Write me a book review. Class, if you do a sporting review, it can't be a preview of an upcoming game, but you could sit down and watch a game and write a review of it. Maybe the El Paso Locomotive game you're at. You could write a review of that. Let me know whether it's good or bad. Final Four's coming up. I don't know what's up with our deadline, but you know, you let me know one game, you write the review, make the calls if you want to do it. Leisure and entertainment, restaurant review, yes, we talked about. Okay. A backpacking route in town, you could do that. Could you go to a local park and write a review? Yeah, a few years ago I had a student, she was an older woman, and not older, but you know, older than a lot of my normal students, younger than me. She's about 45, and she was in my class, and she said, Mr. Welsh, I want to go back, and I haven't been to a Scarity or a Scarte, however the hell you say it, a Scarity, a Scarte Park. And I used to go there in high school, and I want to go back and write a review of it now. She went back and wrote a good review about the updates. Let me know if that was a place that I should be going to, class. It's a good essay. Class, down here, there's some other things that you can't do. Education, write a review of a class, no. Letters of recommendation, no. Next page. Politics of the public sphere, no. Rating system, no. Greatest or best list, no. Paired review, no. But all the rest on here are yeses. And things also like, what else? I had a student one time say, I'll never forget this. I got to share this story. This is quite a few years ago. This was a student that grew up in the Devil's Triangle. In Espanol, el diablo triangular. And that's northeast El Paso. That's where my two children were born and where I lived for 5 years. We didn't live in the triangle, but only about a mile from it. And you know what? I'll just give you an update on this. Last Saturday night, I was cruising around town and going to see a few friends in northeast El Paso. And I went by the triangle, the Devil's Triangle, and it's gone. It's all boarded up. It's a housing complex. And I was like, wow, what a trip, man. I hadn't been to Northeast in a while. And El Diablo Triangular is gone. But I had a student one time who was living there, and he said, Mr. Well, he was a good student, and he had some trouble with the law and had gotten out of the join El Pinto, or La Pinta, and he was cleaning up his life. And he could write like a demon, and I said, you know, you're gonna work hard. I'm here to help you. And he said, Mr. Wells, I want to do. He was a good writer. He said, I want to review a malt liquor. He was of age. Can I? He said, not only that, I want to do a comparing and contrasting between the Old English 800 malt liquor and the Mickey's Big Mouth with the B on the bottle, and Old English 800 charcoal filter. He said, do you know about that stuff? And I said, it doesn't make any difference if I know about it or don't know about it, but I could just be honest with him. I told him, yes, I know about it. And I said, I could lie to you or I could tell you I grew up in the ghetto in South Central LA. So Old English 800 malt liquor was in all the liquor stores, all right, in LA, in South Central. Mickey's Big Mouth's got the B on the label. It is sting you. So he said, can I do a comparison contrasting review? And I said, that's a tough essay to write, but you can do it. And right, I said, you got to promise me. He said, what's that, Mr. Welsh? Because I like this student a lot. I said, do not get in your car, and after you've done the quart of OE and the quart of Mickey's Big Mouth, that you're going to go out driving on a Saturday night. I said, I'll let you write it, but I'm concerned about you as a student. I want you to be safe, and I want you to protect yourself, because already he had done some time for the state of Texas because of drinking getting him in trouble. Class, he wrote me a beautiful essay. Okay. So something you want to do, like, a malt liquor, you could do that. You could test drive a car and write a review. You could I had a student a few years ago say, Mr. Welsh, I want to do a new lipstick that's out. There's this new lipstick called Moonrise over Detroit. That's like a gray lipstick. Could I write a lipstick review? 700 to 1,000 words. I said, I'll read it. Yeah, you can write me a lipstick review. I mean, I don't wear lipstick, but I like it, right? And I'll read about it. And I'm fascinated by some of this tripped out stuff of that world. Moonrise over Detroit, Lipstick. I'm like, I'll read it. She's a good writer. Or I had a student last semester who said there was a new pomade for his hair, a new men's pomade. And he wanted to wash his hair and spend a couple days working with this new pomade for his hair. Could I write? I said, yes. And it was something new. It wasn't like Tres Flores or Jockey Club or Royal Crown pomade. Those are some really old school things. Brill cream. Vitalis. I said, yeah, give me a review. He could write. He wrote me a nice review. So those are some of the other things you can do. Maybe you moved into a new apartment. You want to review that. Maybe... So those are the things, class. Those are all the things that you could do. So think about that and then write me a review. And once again, whatever you do, take your time to review it. Take plenty of notes and then write it. Write it. Maybe it's, I don't know, like a new instrument that comes out, class. Like if you are going to buy a guitar and you spend a couple days with guitar and know a thing about the world, review that guitar, class. Or maybe some sort of new sound system that you can review it. There are a lot of possibilities, class. But things like restaurants, yes. Books, yes. Website, yes. Concert, yes. Stream it. Movie, yes. Sports game, yes. Once again, those sort of things. So, class, I hope that helps. Intro, giving us some background information, thesis statement at the end, letting us know your judgment, transition, first body paragraph, point, criteria, standard, transition, next, transition, next, transition, next, closing, wrap it up in the closing, letting us know once again your final evaluation, 702,000 words, that's your review, okay? We've talked about the deadlines, we've talked about everything. So, if you have any questions, class, hit me up. I've read some real good work this semester. Once again, we'll be having a memo coming out about the drop date. You know what you need to turn in on either the 14th or the 18th. And then once those come in, I'll start hitting it 7 days a week, trying to help you, class. And we'll start moving it towards the end of the semester and getting you all set up and prepared for your final. But that's jumping ahead. Let's take care of that review first. All right, let's take care of that review first. All right, class. Well, I think we've done everything we needed to take care of for now. Class, I'm wishing you well once again as we move into this beautiful springtime here in El Paso, Texas. A beautiful time of day we've been having recently. A little windy, but another great day today. And so I'm wishing you the very best as you continue with this. Stay strong, stay in the game, be good to yourself. In class, I'll leave you as the Irish always say. They always say, good luck, good luck, good luck. I'm wishing you well. Until the next time, have a great day and a good afternoon. Bye-bye.